Hello, folks. Dustin Zarni here. Welcome to Commissioner in a Car. Today is Tuesday, April 8th. I'm one day late with my Commissioner in a Car, but for good reason. This Commissioner in a Car is Here Come the Objections. And that's why I'm one day late, because I wanted to get a clear picture of what is happening at the Board of Elections to talk to you about. So I talked to you the last time I was on Commissioner in a Car last week about petitions. We were at the end of the petition filing period, and we kind of knew what the primaries were going into the fall. But I did say that this was assuming that there would be no objections to remove candidates from the ballot. And now we're starting to get those objections. Most of the objections came in on Monday and Tuesday. We could get some more in the mail on Wednesday, but it's highly unlikely. And so now that all the petitions are in, all the objections are in, we kind of know what's going to be the process going at the Board of Elections for the next 10 days or so. Because once you file a petition, people have so many days to do what's called a general objection. So anytime you file a petition to get on the ballot, there's 3 days that somebody can do what's called a general objection. Now, a general objection is just, someone saying, hey, there's something fishy about this petition, but I can't tell you exactly what yet. I need 6 more days to work on it to put the paperwork together. So a general objection just gives notice to the board that a specific objection may be coming in the next 6 days. That a general objection doesn't always, in fact, most of the time, they do not turn into specific objections. But sometimes they do. And once a specific objection comes in, the Board of Elections, long day. The Board of Elections will go through those specific objections with a bipartisan team, see if we agree on the ruling, and or disagree, and then we set up a hearing, and then after that, both sides have an opportunity to go to court. Although the one trying to throw somebody off has to start their court proceeding a little bit before that. We'll talk about that next week. Because next week will be the hearing and court weeks. But this week we're just going to talk about the objections. And here's what we have in. We have objections, general objections, to the conservative slate for Delegate 126, AD delegate to the 5th Judicial Convention. Now, and it's one of the conservative slates. So there's 2 conservative slates. The one with Matthew B. Nell and Susan Vickers, there is a general objection in, and a specific. And we'll go through that in a second. But there's a general objection in. Full disclosure. I think people who hear this pod know that Mr. B. Nell and I have a longer than I would like history. I am actually going to be removing myself from ruling on that objection. Letting my co-commissioner, Kevin Ryan, and a Democrat that I'm assigning from my staff, I'm not even looking at that. But I'm telling you that there is an objection in. There's also a general objection to the Claytown slate. For the Republicans put in a slate, but they're all getting the conservative line. They're all Republicans who are getting co-endorsed on the conservative line. A general objection has come in for that. A general objection has come in against Tammy Honeywell, who's running for County Ledge District 8 on the Democratic line and the Working Families line, but her objection is only on the Democratic petitions. She's participating in a primary with Chad Ryan, and the general objection is here, but no specifics are in. There's a general objection against Palmer Harvey, who was a candidate with the County Ledge District 9, has since decided not to run. That came in yesterday. So we haven't got specific objections in yet. But not only are we waiting specific objections, we're waiting new candidate slate for that will come on Friday. I'll talk about that a little bit at the end of the podcast. General objections in for 2 mayoral candidates for the Democratic line, Alfonso Davis and Jimmy Oliver. And general objections in for a Republican town slate and a Republican supervisor's petition for the town of Cicero. The Ari Lieberman petition for supervisor and the town slate that is with that. There are 2 competing slates there, which are creating a primary inside the town of Cicero. But if this objection, again, it's only a general objection, no specifics yet. If this objection comes in, then then there will be no primary there if it's upheld. There is a general objection against Jim Loomis, who's running for Pompey counselor on the Republican line. That, again, another and the supervisor, Gregory Herlihy. Again, 2 people that would create a Republican primary in Pompey. But if the objections are upheld, if specifics come in, that won't happen. There's an objection against Aaron, I'm going to butcher this last name, Przybylski, Przybylski. And I'm a Polish, and I'm having trouble with that name. He's a Republican running for Town of Salina Ward 2. There's a general objection and specific objection against Martin Cass. Oh, also there's specific objections against Aaron as well. There's Republican and specific objections against Martin Cass, who is a Republican running for Common Council District 4 inside the city of Syracuse. So I said that there are 3 specifics in right now. We're about at the end of the time for general objections to come in. And if a general objection does not come in, no specific objection can come in. However, again, not every specific objection, not every general objection is going to turn into a specific. And they'll all have, most of these objections came in on either Friday or Monday. And if they got 6 days to do it, then the specifics are due on Wednesday, Thursday, or even next Monday will be the last day. So next Monday night, we'll really know where all the specifics are in. And so my next commissioner in car will be talking about all the specifics that came in and what the hearing dates are, because that'll be all next week. So that's my commissioner, in car next week. But as I said, there are 3 specifics in already. There's a specific filed against the Matthew Beadnell, Susan Vickers, AD 126 slate. There are specifics filed against Aaron Przybylski in the Saline Ward 2 GOP slate, and specifics filed in the Martin Cass GOP slate for Salina District 4. So, again, many of these others could have specifics come in by the end of this week, and we'll know more over the next few days or Monday. However, when specifics come in, our bipartisan teams will go through them. And once we make a determination that a candidate either in our preliminary finding is either on or off the ballot, we will then give notice to both the objector and the candidate to appear before a hearing, usually about 5 days after our determination. So if something is determined tomorrow, we'll have that hearing on Monday to try to kind of figure out whether, the law says that we have to give them an opportunity to be heard. That doesn't mean we have to change our mind. It doesn't mean that we will or won't. We could, if evidence is presented or they believe that our rulings are wrong. We could then make a determination that our ruling was wrong and reverse our decision. So both candidates will get an opportunity for that. If we invalidate a petition where somebody gets thrown off the ballot, they will have 3 days to go to court to have our decision overruled. And remember, it takes 2 commissioners to throw a signature out or rule against a ballot. So you need 2 to roll against them, not just one. If it's a split, then there's an assumption of validity, and they're going to stay on the ballot. But the commissioners were bound by ethics, we're bound by election law, and we're also bound by the fact that we don't want to get overturned in court, or look silly. So, we're going to play it straight, and I believe Commissioner Ryan will play it straight as well. He's a lawyer and bound by certain ethics as well. And again, election law guides our decisions here. We actually don't look at things like, oh, that signature doesn't look like that person's signature. We don't do signature comparisons. We're not handwriting experts. We cannot put anybody under oath. We don't make rulings on fraud. All of that has to be done in court. But what we can do is say, hey, that person is a Republican, or isn't a Democrat, or doesn't live in that division, or doesn't live within that town. And those are pretty black or white findings. Or if there's a technical error, some witness forgot to sign something, or information was left off a petition that should have been there. These are things that we can rule on pretty easily. And I have to say that we've had a pretty good run at the Board of Elections, at least during my tenure, of not being overturned in court. The one time something got changed in court was a question of whether petitions were turned in or not properly, and the court ordered a restart of a petition time period, but nothing like a ruling on an individual signature or anything like that. There were times where we couldn't rule on stuff like fraud, that the court ruled on them and then eventually threw off a candidate from the ballot that we had kept on because we could not rule on those things. So that is what's happening. So we'll see where all of this goes. We expect next week to be several different hearings. We only have 3 specifics in, so we'll definitely have 3 hearings. But those hearings may continue over next week and the week after, as we have, again, a lot of general objections that specifics haven't come in on. And hearings can take, an hour or so, depending on what we're ruling on and how many objections we're ruling on. We're just going to continue over the next few weeks, and we're going to see where everything goes. I did want to talk about a couple of things. So I want to talk about court. So if you're trying to throw somebody off the ballot, there's a thing called the dual stream method. You can just go to the Board of Elections and hope the Board of Elections rules for you. However, if we rule against you, or we don't have time to hold a hearing in the allotted time frame, you do have to start your court proceeding 2 weeks from the end of the filing period. So the filing period ended on Thursday. Court proceedings have to be filed by next Thursday. And since we don't even have some of the specifics in, it's quite possible that we will not have ruled on a hearing before that 2 week period. So it's not uncommon for people to file court paperwork to preserve their right to challenge our rulings, especially if they're alleging things like fraud or other things, so that we can't rule on at the board. So that is something to watch for next week, to see if anybody files court cases. And of course, next week or the week after, we'll be talking about that. Because I'm planning on doing a commissioner car next Monday. And that will be on the hearings that are set up, and then we'll talk the Monday after who remained on the ballot, who didn't, and who's still going to court. So that's what April is like for us at the Board of Election. It's all about petitions. It's all about getting on the ballot, preserving your right on the ballot, throwing other people off the ballot, and kind of building towards the June primary and determining which of these races are going to still have the primary. We're still going to have a primary for mayor, even though 2 of the candidates were objected to, because 3 others were not objected to, and assuming nobody goes to court by next Thursday, because you can go to court without going to the board. Doesn't happen all that often, but it happens. So we will still have a Democratic mayoral primary. We will definitely have a Democratic Syracuse Common Council primary. Definitely have a Democratic Syracuse School Board primary. The Democratic primary in OCL 8 will, if a specific objection comes in, will be determined by that. But as of right now, we have a Democratic primary there. We will have I think that's it for the Democratic primaries. Right now, there are conservative or Republican primaries in Pompey, Elbridge, and Cicero. The Pompey and Cicero ones have objections pending. The Elbridge one is going forward. And there's the conservative primary in AD 126, again with that objection that is pending. So we're waiting to see what happens with all of that. Now, declinations also happened on Monday. And the biggest surprise was Palmer Harvey, county legislator, District 9, declined their petitions. There's a few other people that declined, and some of them got substituted. Substitutions happened by Friday. So the declinations happened on Monday. Substitutions will happen on Friday. And we'll see where there's new candidates. That's really about it. Again, the Board of Elections, we rule on what's in front of us. So I tend to not comment on rumors or anything like that. Who's going to be substituted, all of that, why people decline, that's not my purview. And what might be on specific objections before they come in, also not my purview. What is my purview is to look at the stuff that comes in. And I have a policy, and it's a policy that has served me well, that I don't even look at petitions until an objection comes in and until the preliminary objection is ruled on. Because once the preliminary objection is ruled on, then I have a basis to determine, validity of a petition, which is my job and Commissioner Ryan's job. And we have to agree. So that process is going forward, and we'll see how that process goes. So next week on Monday, I'll have a commissioner in a car, and I'll be talking about where we stand with the hearing process and what specific objections come in and whether any substituted candidates come in. And so we can see if there's any candidate changes that have been filed. And then this weekend, or this Friday, I hope, although this is a very busy week, I hope to have a weekly wonk on Common Council District 1 inside the city of Syracuse. My next 5 weeks will be about the city of Syracuse as we get ready for that big primary in June. But again, the caveat on that is that it really depends on how much work is needed at the board. We're on overtime a little bit to try to catch up on some things. And because with petitions coming in, a lot of our people are not doing registration or during regular time. We are absolutely caught up on registration. Don't want to even pretend that we're not, but we're trying to stay caught up. So, and there's, we have inspector classes going on. We have a ballot that we're making for the primary. So there's a lot going on at the Board of Elections right now. So that's it. Thank you very much for tuning in to Commissioner in a Car. Remember, you can always go to DustinZarny.com and subscribe. You can get an email notification every time I do a content or election news update. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.